Hello, I'm Zahara K, and I'm going to talk about the largest name service acting as a phone book for the internet, which is the domain name system. But before I go any further, I'll describe what the domain name system is. This is a naming system that transforms domain names into IP addresses and IP addresses into domain names, and without it, there will not be an existence of the internet. The domain names are in alphabetical letters and IP addresses are in numbers. The domain name system works on things like computers, laptops, and was assigned by the Internet Registry. Domain names themselves have got a suffix, for example net, org, and this shows their top level. Now, next I'll talk about the size of the domain name system. The domain name system has a user datagram protocol, which has a maximum size of about 512 octet, which was due to the required minimum internet protocol reassembly limits of the IPv4 and now acts as a domain name system limit. Next I'll talk about how the domain name system works. The domain name system has got a server which helps to resolve IP addresses and IP addresses. When you type in a domain name into a browser, it's translated into an IP address through the resolving of a domain name done by the domain name server. Next, I'll talk about the components of the domain name system. It's got a a namespace, a server, and a resolver. The namespace allows names to be put into a tree structure. The server helps the clients to find information in the domain name system tree, and the resolver responds to clients by getting information from the server. Next, I'll talk about the functions of the domain name system. The domain name system transforms domain names into IP addresses and IP addresses back to domain names, IP addresses back to domain names. It also provides information when needed. For example, when a query is asked, it helps to provide that information. Next, I'll talk about the limits of the continued operation of the domain name system. I'll talk about the limits of the continued operation of the system. The domain name system The domain name system is not secure because of the lack of authenticity and integrity checking of the data in the domain name system. Then the other limitation is about the domain names themselves. They haven't got space in between, and they cannot hold special characters like exclamation marks, and the characters themselves cannot be more than 63 characters. Next, I'll talk about if the operation is affected by any laws in the UK. Users access the internet from anywhere in the world. Anyone can access the internet from the US, from the UK, and that should be information being transferred from one computer to the other. But during that process, that information goes through various destinations, and this may cause insecurities. Therefore, there should be laws protecting this. The first law that I'll talk about will be the regulation of the Inventory Act that was formed in 2000. This law allows technologies like the internet to be monitored. The next law I'll talk about will be the Security Service Act, which was in the 1996, and this gives the security service the function of acting in support of preventing serious crimes. Crimes like terrorism, identity theft go on with the domain system, so this act helps to prevent that. Since the domain name system is the backbone of the bank cards and payments, of the ATM machines, which consists of personal data, the Data Protection Act also comes in and affects the domain name system in some way. In conclusion, therefore, the domain name system is primarily there to help transform domain names into IP addresses, and it's got a size of about 512 octet. It has components like the name service, the the namespace, sorry, name service and the resolver, and has limitations like the lack of space and the lack of not being able to put characters like exclamations in it. Thank you.